So before we get to the cute pictures and the birds that are for adoption, I do have to take us back to what happened. What state were these birds in when you found them?
Yeah, so our folks respond usually as secondary or third responders in situations alongside Winnipeg Police or Winnipeg Fire Paramedic. I can't comment specifically on the incident itself, but what I can say is that when our officers arrived to scene, what they saw was pretty horrific. Our people deal with these types of situations quite often, but the magnitude of this one, with 70 birds in the home, only 43 having kind of made it out of the situation, it was a pretty significant event.
So they were, you can describe, I guess, what had happened. They've been left for weeks, you think, with nothing?
For some time, yeah.
Okay.
So birds need a lot of care, right? They need to be fed every day. Their cages need to be cleaned. What we saw was that hadn't happened in quite some time.
This will also inform what it takes to own a bird, too. So the cages were messy. The birds are underweight. Mm-hmm. What about claws, beaks, things like that?
Yeah, many of the birds needed significant veterinary care, including beak trims. When we don't take care of a bird in the way that it needs to, its beak can overgrow, and then that affects its ability to eat. So that's part of the starvation piece of things, is that, right? The inability to take food in, which is, we think about it, like, pretty horrifying.
Yeah. So obviously many of them did die. Those that survived, how are they doing now?
They're doing great. The first night was a bit hairy, if we're being fully frank here. It was all hands on deck. We expected to lose more birds than we did, but everybody after that first night made it through. So 18 of them are medically cleared. The rest of them are still in our care, and the public can kind of see more come up for adoption as time goes on.
Just to go back to some of the conditions here, what is bumblefoot?
Bumblefoot is a bacterial infection, so it's called pododermatitis. Things I've learned that I didn't know about birds before this situation.
I bet you learned a lot.
Yeah, typically we deal with dogs at the agency, typically overcapacity with dogs every day. Birds we see maybe once, twice a year, typically in scenarios where we get called to a scene and there's kind of a bird left behind at an eviction, or someone's passed away and their bird is still in the home. But this one's a whole different scenario for us.
Absolutely. So you said 18 are cleared, 43 survived. Will the rest of them then, the total 43 you expect, will be adoptable?
Yeah, there's a few that have been adopted already, which is fantastic. We're very, very excited about that. Some really great homes have stepped forward, and those birds have gone out of our care, which is really nice. The 18 that are up for adoption right now are budgies and lovebirds, but we still have canaries, we have finches, we have all kinds of different species.
We're showing some of them actually on our YouTube channel right now, all these little guys. There are some things to keep in mind if you're thinking of adopting. If you go, oh, I love the blue one, if you don't know the species. Some of them have to stay together. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah. So lovebirds will all be adopted out in pairs. They are bonded. We've kind of created some new bonds. Some of them came in single cages. Their partner had passed away. So part of what we did along the way was some bird matchmaking. So everybody seems to have a great friend now, which is lovely, and they'll have to go in those pairs. That is imperative.
If you haven't been around a bird, then you may be thinking it's a bird. It probably doesn't have a personality. You're completely wrong. I have friends with birds.
Yeah.
So what are the personalities of some of these guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting. Our staff deals with dogs mostly, and every dog who comes into our care has their own quirk or their own funny thing about them. So our staff have had a really good time getting to know these birds, creating bios for the birds. If you look on our Pet Finder page, our staff have gotten really creative describing some of these creatures' quirks. But every bird is a little bit different who's in our care. Some of them a little bit more crotchety than others, some a little bit more socialized than others, and some who make interesting sounds, if you will.
Okay, tell me what you mean.
So we have a couple of cockatiels who are in our staff wellness room right now, and when you enter the room, they catcall you, which in any other workplace scenario I wouldn't necessarily promote, but here we are.
Are they whistling at you?
They sure are, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In terms of the quirkiness, birds can be very quirky. Jumping, dancing, I don't know, what are some of the quirks that have stood out for you that are just like endearing?
Yeah, I mean, the catcalling is the big one for us. Some of them make kind of inappropriate sounds. Nobody talks, but that's not to say that they won't learn to in the future. The socialization piece is interesting. Some of them a bit more social than others. So some of them will come to the front of the cage to greet you, and some just kind of give you the side eye, similar to our shelter dogs. So different personalities on different birds.
Where did you put them all? I mean, 43 birds in your office. What?
Oh my goodness, Marcy, where did we put them? We put them everywhere, basically. So if you haven't been to the shelter at 1057 Logan, we have a kennel room where dogs are housed. We have some offices. We have a small exotic room where the odd snake or rabbit or whatnot might go. We had one bird cage kicking around the agency before this all happened. But there were birds in offices. There were birds in our food prep room. There were birds in our board room. It made meetings a little bit tough. These guys are pretty chatty, so we've been making it work. But,
what an image.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Tell me a little bit about the care they need. If someone's considering adopting, they've heard a number of different types of birds. So parrots can live for a great long time. I don't know if you've got any parrots.
Yeah, we did have parrots. They've been adopted. Okay. They were cinnamon red rumped parrots, which is a type of parrot that I'd never met before. So those two have been adopted.
Did they have red bumps? Is that why they're called that?
They did not have red rumps, interestingly.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, they're gone.
I'm not sure who made that name up, but here we are. So many of the birds that we have in our care can live 25, 30 years. So that longevity is a big commitment. So what we ask of people if they're going to come forward for a bird is to really consider that piece of things. And then beyond that, birds need vet care. So every animal that we send out from our shelter, we want to ensure there's a veterinary relationship. Not every veterinarian deals with birds. It is kind of a specialized thing. So folks need to be making sure that their own veterinarian does deal with birds or that they form a relationship with one who does, because these little creatures do need annual vet care at the very minimum.
So do your research if you're interested. How did the community respond? I mean, you had one cage. You must have had to have some help.
Absolutely. So we put the call out for help sort of in the middle of the night when we were done settling everybody into their respective spaces and sanitizing and cleaning and feeding and vet checking everyone. That night, we got multiple people reaching out to help us. Bird cages were the biggest thing that we needed physically. In the first night, there were birds in reptile cages because that's all we had.
Yeah.
By the next day and into the day after that, we had every bird with a new cage that was clean and ready to go. We had volunteers stepping up. Our shelter staff are busy every day. Our comfort capacity at the agency is 20 to 25. We have 30 to 40 dogs every day. So our staff is busy. So those volunteers who came in from the public have been absolutely invaluable to us.
I bet. Yeah. Good job, community. Okay, so let's leave people with the cost to adopt, where they go for information. What should they know if they're listening and think, I might want a bird?
Yeah, for sure. So 1057 Logan is where our team works out of. So they can come and visit us there. They can call 311 and our adoption staff will liaise with them that way. In terms of adoption costs, it's a bit sticky because our fees are set by council. So $176 is what it costs to adopt an exotic animal of any type. Some of these birds need to go in pairs. So some of those will be pair adoption costs.
Okay, understood. 311 for information.
Absolutely.
And the shelter on Logan. Zoe, thank you for coming in this morning.
Thanks
and also
so
sharing
much.
the pictures.
Thanks for having us.
That's Zoé Austin, the General Manager for the Animal Services Agency.